So, for this part I actually want to work with our inventory and picking up weapons and so on. So I'm going to create a new script which we can just call, I guess we can just call it inventory manager, although it's going to be a really simple type of an inventory. Okay, and I'm going to add the namespace. And I'm actually not going to use either start or update. It's just going to be used by our controller, which in turn, of course, is used by our input handler. So I'm going to make a serializable class, which we're going to call item. Okay. And we can make, or at least we can try to make another class which is going to derive from item, which is going to be called weapon, and we're going to say public game object weapon model. Okay, so let's try this out. Let's say public weapon current weapon. Let's see if this is actually going to show on the inspector, because I have a feeling that it won't. Yeah, it doesn't. So we're going to have to keep only the item then, and we're going to say public game object model object, or just model, I guess. Okay, and yeah, I guess we can just do a type. I think there is only two, or should it be active? And actually it's more than two types of weapons. We have boxes, we have weapons, we have rations which you can just pick up, I guess, and you have, yeah, I think those are the main things. So you have one that is constant as long as it's your current item is constant. You have ones that you only use once you press the button, and you have the ones that you are actually aiming. And I think we can split, yeah, the weapons are all on the left, so you can have a list of just weapons. Okay, so we do that. So we're going to say weapon, current weapon, and then we'll see how we handle the objects. So now let's go onto our controller, and we're going to say public bool is aiming. Onto your input handler then, we kind of want to set up like bool is aiming, and I'm just going to use right click for now, get mouse button 1. Okay, so if is aiming, then you're not doing anything with the movement. Okay, so that means else, like that. But yeah, that's not ideal either, because this is a current weapon. Okay, let's do okay. Well, okay, for now we're just going to do it like this. It means we're all going to be able to aim even if we do not have a weapon assigned. So if you're aiming, instead of movement, you're only going to be rotating towards the direction you're looking at. So handle rotation like that. Then inventory manager, or from the controller we need to have a reference to the inventory manager. Let's hide it, however. Public inventory manager. Then inventory manager on start, we're going to use get component, inventory manager. Okay. Inventory manager then. Okay, then input handler, inventory manager, or controller dot inventory manager dot current weapon dot model dot set active is aiming. Okay, and cut that and paste that in here. Then onto our handle animation stage, we should also do is aiming. Okay, so I guess we can just handle it from here, to be honest. So let's see, cut that, paste that in here. Yeah, we don't need the controller. Okay, so here's our input handler. Update, handle animation state. Okay. So this can be controller dot is aiming right away, and we're doing this way. So let's go and fix that. We do have the weapon down here, and I'm going to actually copy this, duplicate that, and just parent it underneath my object, underneath my controller, on his right hand, of course. Let's see how we are. Set position, reset rotation, and that's not the best it could look, but I've seen worse, to be honest. Okay, and this will always be standing there. It will always look there, because we're not going to bother about having different you know, we're just going to keep this thing this simple. Okay, so let's see. So when you are not aiming, you're not showing the weapon, and when you're aiming like this, you can only rotate and aim. Yeah, and you are aiming. Of course, we're not changing the actual animation. If you are crouching, as you can see, it kind of still does that. So we're going to make him that when he's crouching, if he's aiming, we're first of all going to create a new empty state, and we're going to say aiming. For now, we can just add the idle, I guess. And we're going to add a new bool, is aiming. And from anywhere, any state, we're going to do a transition for is aiming. Okay, let's see how that's going to look. And let's see if we actually update that. Okay, we do update it. And actually the any state can be a little bit problematic, but whatever. And of course, we do not fall away from that. So is aiming should be false now from here. Okay, so you're aiming and then you go back, and if you crouch, you're still aiming. But I think if you're prone, yeah, it kind of looks stupid. And you get to go back. So we're not going to handle it like that. First of all, if you're aiming, we're going to only allow you to go to aim from the standing locomotion, which is going to be this. So is aiming to true. Then we're going to just filter out everything else. So your input handler, if aiming is wall equals false, controller is crouch equals false. And I think that alone should also change the prone as well. So it should go back through the entire chain of events. And yeah, it does. Okay. We just need to fix the animation now and you'll be able to move around like that. And we're going to also fix, because with the submachine gun you could, you know, walk around. There's some slight sliding that happens there. So we can fix that by simply saying that if move amount is 0 onto our input handler, let's find our movement, handle movement. So actually here we can say controller dot rigid body dot velocity equals vector 3 dot 0. But we need to make the controller public for that. So public new rigid body. Okay. That, and then handle movement. Direction? No, I think the rest should work fine. So this will freeze him if he's moving. Okay. Okay, and you can aim. Awesome. So let's say that we can enable movement, however, onto our weapon. So we're going to say that inventory manager or controller. No, inventory manager. We can say that public bull can move with weapon or when aiming. Okay, we're trying to recreate the MGS style of movement. That is. Okay, so if controller then dot inventory manager dot current weapon can move with weapon, then instead of adding the velocity, let's do else. Let's leave that there. Then all we have to do is movement. We have the rotation and we also need to be using the move direction, the movement animations. Okay. Move amount. Otherwise, we still want to have the movement animations, well, but we're just going to hard code them to 0. So that means we can also have the aiming as a blame tree from 0 to 1. Let's not automate. And we have the idle and the forward. And actually, I think I have animation somewhere for that. Okay, you can't move with the weapon. But if you go and say that on this, with this weapon you can move, you are moving without checking the walls, of course. So basically that this simulates, moving around with the submachine gun. And actually, let me take a look at my files. Yeah, so I actually have animations. Okay. Let's back all of that. Yeah, obviously these are for a rifle and not a pistol, but this will do for now. Crouch rest, let's see. rifle idle. Well, that's okay. Awesome. So let's replace this, and maybe we can just switch. I have another weapon as well. So this is for aiming, and then it means we can just replace this to idle, and then we have a rifle walk as well. Awesome. So close that, and we have our aiming. Let's move this onto the side, and yeah, okay, let's do that. Hit play. Okay, and now we also have the aiming animation, and when we set this that you can move with this, we also have the movement animation. Of course, we need to change the speed in which we are moving when we are aiming, because not now we're moving with the same speed. And since I have the animations, I can actually change it from this guy as well. So let's go onto our controller and change this to public float aim speed. Let's set this to 1. And then on the handle movement, which is this, we can just do float speed equals move speed. If is aiming, speed, aim speed. Okay, and I guess this can be similar to the other ones anyway. So let's bring a different weapon for this. I do have one, so that should do it. Let's do the MP40. Just going to drop it here. I'm going to change the texture. I'm going to change the material actually. Change that, and let's do the PCX style, vertex lit, and I'm just going to parent this underneath my player. Let's find him. Yeah, here it is. Let's see if I copy the position of this 6.8, paste the component values. Yeah, that's close enough. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to just close the Colt and just enable this as a weapon. And let's say can move with weapon. Okay. Hit play. And here we are. Okay, and now we can also move. And we're going to make him like he's actually can fire as well once moving. Maybe we can set him to actually run also instead of walk. I think walk is way too slow for this. So okay, I'm going to replace the animation, but actually let me just do it now. Okay, so now I changed the animation. We just need to change the speed. Let's maybe set this to 3. Oh, that's the prone speed. All speed, aim speed. Okay, yeah, so you know how it was basically with Metal Gear, the first one, that is. Well, not the first one, the PSX one. Awesome. So that means we can actually change the animations for this guy as well, for the enemy, and we can change it so that on the enemy, when he's aggressive, we can change this to rifle idle, which that's going to be the aiming. And yeah, I'm not particularly liking this. I don't actually want him to jog like we are. So we'll just keep this for that, and we're going to make him attack from that one. And we can actually put the same weapon. So I'm going to copy component for this, and I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to just parent it underneath his right hand. Okay, upper arm, lower arm, hand over there. Take that, just parent it below, and just paste the same component values, and it will be the same. Okay, and there he's actually aiming at us. Of course, we need some setup. We need to kind of fix a little bit the placement of the weapon. So let's do that now. The cool thing about it is that we only have to fix it on one player, and it should be the same with the other one. Okay, something like that, I guess. Copy component, paste the component values, and then onto this one as well, paste component values. Yeah, that's slightly better. The hand, it looks a bit off, but okay, this is still a PlayStation era game, so you know what it is. And we also need to replace the... Yeah, we now have a different animation. We have a different shader for this. So I guess we can replace him. Let's find it out. Let's see. No, let's do select. And before. Although I think maybe that's too much. The vertex snapping is probably way too much. Maybe we can just keep vertex snapping onto... Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, I think I'll just keep the vertex snapping onto the player, onto the level. Or maybe not use it at all. Just keep it as a standard, or even a legacy shader. Just diffuse. Why not? Let's try that. Diffuse. Let's try this as well. We diffuse, and if we set that to diffuse, I think we can also change it. Sort of takes away though from the look of it. So maybe let's try legacy shaders, vertex lit. And just keep those to diffuse, we'll see. Now obviously this is pretty much a stylistic approach. You can do whatever you want with this. Vertex lit. But with this I can also go into my lights and enable soft shadows. Let's see, that should have given some shadows, but I think it doesn't. Yeah. Vertex lit. Yeah, it doesn't because these are all vertex lit. So maybe we can just stick to the standard shaders. Oh well, I don't know. I don't know, actually know. This can get a little bit different. If you're liking the way this looks, then of course feel free to keep it this way. Well, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's missing the PSX era style, you know. Anyway, So I think that's for this part. We're basically just aiming and shooting weapons. We're going to fix the bullets and stuff like that onto the next part. I'm actually need to look for some particle effects. I think Unity has a few that we can use. So I'm going to try that first. Anyway, so that's it for this part. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more series, more of everything of this, then consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these we're making. And I think I'm just going to switch to the PSX era, to be honest. Let's see, that's unlit. Just keep it to vertex lit or maybe reflective. Transparent, unlit. Ah, that's terrible. Nah, just keep it vertex lit. And we're just not going to use the weapons. We're just going to use a simple diffuse. And then this will use the vertex lit. I like the snapping that it's doing. And I think I like this happening onto the players as well. It's just the weapons that are terrible with that. So we're just going to use the vertex lit for that one. Anyway, so as always, I'll see you on the next one.